Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're peeling back the glossy, carefully crafted marketing of the Google Pixel 10 series and pitting it directly against 6 months of real-world use. We aren't just looking at a pristine spec sheet today, folks. Oh no, we are diving into a grueling day-to-day showdown between the Pixel 10 Pro and the iPhone 17 Pro. Let's see which flagship actually earns its place in your pocket. So here's our roadmap for today. We'll briefly cover the global launch and Google's big AI promises. Then we'll get into the good stuff, hardware in the real world, the ultimate camera showdown, and the software and ecosystem battle, right before we give you our final verdict. All right, let's kick things off with part 1, the global launch and expanding the Pixel footprint. So to capture a bigger slice of the global pie, Google really pushed the boat out. They expanded pre-orders for the Pixel 10 series to a massive 33 countries. And hey, this notably included Mexico for the very first time. It shows a clear intent to grow that international footprint. But if you were eyeing that top-tier Pixel 10 Pro fold, well, that device saw a much more limited rollout, hitting just 21 major markets like the US, UK, India, and Japan. Now let's talk numbers. Google's pricing strategy is pretty interesting here. They positioned the standard Pixel 10 at $799, the Pro at $999, and then stretched all the way up to $1799 for the Pro Fold. But, to kind of sweeten the deal on those premium price tags, Google threw in a free 1-year subscription to Google AI Pro with the Pro models. This gave early adopters immediate access to those advanced Gemini Pro tools, which was a huge signal that software, not just hardware, was going to be their major differentiator. Which brings us to part 2, Google's AI promises, or as I like to call it, the brains behind the glass. During their launch, Google made it crystal clear that they aren't just selling you a phone anymore. They're selling a highly intelligent assistant. It's the combined power of their custom Tensor G5 chip, which, by the way, was co-designed with DeepMind, and the new Gemini Nano model. What this means is the Pixel 10 can run complex generative AI experiences entirely on the device itself. So you get faster processing without always having to rely on the cloud. So what does that actually mean for you and me? Well, features like Magic Queue, which proactively gives you info before you even ask, and Voice Translate for real-time call translation were totally front and center in Google's marketing. They painted this really compelling picture of a truly helpful phone that literally anticipates your needs. But as we all know, promises on a stage are one thing, right? And that leads us perfectly into part 3, hardware in the real world, the gloss versus the grit. To really figure out how these promises hold up, we're looking at some fascinating insights from tech reviewer Sahil Arora at Ill Gaming. He literally subjected both the Pixel 10 Pro and the iPhone 17 Pro to a grueling 6-month dual-wielding test. He carried both phones around, fully active with dual SIMs, to catch all those tiny daily friction points that you simply cannot find in a standard 2-week review. And honestly, his findings about the physical hardware are super revealing. The Pixel 10 Pro absolutely shines when it comes to build and in-hand feel. Sahil actually noted it feels like a considered premium luxury watch, whereas the iPhone 17 Pro, well, it felt a bit flagship generic by comparison. And get this, the Pixel was surprisingly tough. After several naked drops, it remained totally dent-free, while the iPhone actually picked up visible frame dents from its falls. But hold on, it's not a total slam dunk for Google's hardware. If you're someone who likes to go caseless without a screen protector, you should know the Pixel picks up micro scratches way faster than the iPhone. And perhaps even more crucial for daily use, the iPhone completely dominates when it comes to holding a Wi-Fi signal. In those stubborn home dead spots where the Pixel would constantly drop the connection, the iPhone just held strong. No competition. The iPhone also continues to pull ahead in the audio-visual department. The 17 Pro features this incredibly rich spatial audio with actual bass presence, something the Pixel's standard speakers just kind of fail to match. Plus, the iPhone's auto brightness actually adapts and learns your preferences over time. The Pixel? Frustratingly, it required manual adjustment in dim rooms every single day for 6 straight months. It just never learned the user's habits. Let's move on to part 4, the camera showdown. Time to trade some heavy blows. When we're talking still photography, the winner actually depends entirely on which side of the phone you're using. For talking heads and selfies, the Pixel's front camera is noticeably sharper. It retains brilliant detail without that annoying over-smoothing effect. But flip those phones around, and the iPhone is the clear winner for the rear camera. It just delivers vastly superior dynamic range, better color science, and, crucially, absolute consistency across totally different lighting conditions. And hey, if you shoot video professionally, the iPhone has a massive ace up its sleeve. We're talking about the ability to shoot in ProRes 4K. This gives you immense editing flexibility and grading latitude in post-production software like DaVinci Resolve. The Pixel simply cannot match this right now. You do have to watch out for those absolutely enormous file sizes, but for pros, the advantage is undeniable.
All right, let's shift gears to part 5, software and ecosystem, the invisible threads.
So Google obviously leans heavily on its software intelligence. Features like Call Screen and Live Translate are genuinely useful, deeply integrated daily tools that honestly feel a bit like magic. But Apple counters this with sheer ecosystem gravity. We're talking handoff, AirDrop, and seamless clipboard sharing across Macs and iPads. It creates this frictionless environment that is incredibly hard to walk away from once you're locked in.
The daily user experience really highlights their distinct philosophies too. You might swipe type faster on an Android device, but the iPhone offers far better raw typing accuracy. Apple also takes the win on hardware-software integration. Their Taptic engine gives you this crisp, precise vibration feedback that frankly makes Android feel a bit mushy. And Apple's Face ID? Total game changer. It unlocks passively as you pick up the phone to answer a call, whereas the Pixel often makes you do an active verification step first.
And we can't ignore the very real gap in third-party app stability. Apps like Instagram, Snapchat, and WhatsApp just run more intuitively and consistently on iOS. Even comparing native apps, Apple Photos prove to be faster and way more predictable at indexing and searching than Google Photos. Toss in the high-quality, curated gaming library of Apple Arcade, and iOS takes a commanding lead in pure software stability. Which brings us to part 6, the final verdict. Both are great, but there's only one winner. Okay, let's break it down. The Pixel 10 Pro is an undeniably incredible piece of hardware. It boasts this unmatched, luxurious in-hand feel, a surprisingly durable frame, a stellar front camera, and deeply smart integrated AI features. But it is held back by low-level software friction, some frustratingly intrusive notifications, and a noticeable lack of premium third-party accessories in certain markets like India. On the flip side, the iPhone 17 Pro remains the ultimate primary driver for most people. It wins out through sheer undeniable reliability. You get unmatched Wi-Fi connectivity, phenomenal speakers, seamless Face ID, and rock-solid app stability. Now, it's not perfect. The reviewer did note that the action button is often completely useless in daily workflows, but the accumulated weight of its seamless ecosystem makes it incredibly difficult to beat. So, the crucial point we're left with in this explainer is this. The Pixel 10 Pro has finally achieved the body, the durability, and the feel of a true premium flagship. It might even surpass Apple in pure physical design. But here's the real question. Are you willing to compromise on app stability, Wi-Fi reliability, and a seamless digital ecosystem just to hold it? Think about what really matters in your day-to-day digital life. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive into the 6-month reality of these two tech titans. Catch you next time.